In the unforgiving skies of World War II, there was a point in every catastrophic mission where the airplane itself became the crew's greatest enemy. When structural integrity was crippled by enemy fire, when flight control vanished, when uncontrolled fire raged, or when a mid-air collision tore the fuselage, only one decision remained. It was a solemn responsibility of the plane commander to initiate the final, desperate act for survival, the bailout. The protocol was drilled into every airman. First, the pilot broadcast the grim order over the intercom. Prepare to abandon plane. He must immediately transmit the vital data, altitude, approximate position, and the terrifying caveat if a water landing is expected. Every crew member must acknowledge the message. The physical signal is then delivered. 3 short, unmistakable bursts of the bailout bell. 3 rings meant get ready. The term bailout bell is misleading. It sounds more like a jarring, high-pitched buzzer, a terrifying siren heard across the metallic echo of the B-17. These alarms were strategically placed, one beneath the navigator's table, one in the radio room, and a final one located above the tailwheel boot. But what if the situation stabilizes? The order to abandon is canceled by dispatching the flight engineer to physically relay the command to return to stations. As the plane dies, the secrets must not fall into enemy hands. At high altitude, where VHF line-of-sight transmission distances are maximized, the radio operator follows emergency protocol. He sends a final distress message to Bomber Command: position, course, altitude, speed, estimated time remaining, and the intention to bail out, ditch, or crash. Simultaneously, the pilot destroys the identification friend or foe radio system. Located above the flight deck instrument panel, the pilot presses the radio destruct switch box dual button, detonating an explosive charge built into the radio cabinet. The bombardier is tasked with the destruction of the Norden bombsight, one of the war's most protected secrets. The protocol is brutal and direct. 2 rounds from his Colt 45 pistol fired into the glassite telescope, followed by 1 round into the intricate rating mechanism. After the intelligence is secured, the bombardier or pilot will open the bomb bay doors, jettisoning or salvaging the bombs. Crucially, the fuses remain unarmed, ensuring the bombs will not detonate upon ground contact. The bomb bay must remain open as an egress point. Before anyone leaves, the most vulnerable member of the crew must be retrieved. The waist gunners assist in extracting the ball turret gunner. The turret guns are depressed down, exposing the turret's internal hatch, allowing the gunner to be hauled into the cabin. The crew strips down. Helmets and flak gear must go. The heavy flak vest and apron are removed instantly by pulling the quick-release cord. Parachute type is dictated by position. The pilot and co-pilot wear back or seat parachutes, while the remaining 8 crew members secure the lighter chest parachutes, too cumbersome to wear beneath flak vests or inside the cramped ball turret. If the jump is over water, the crew must connect their inflatable dinghy to the life vest steering. Before the drop, the crew must break the umbilical cord to the dying plane. This is done in a precise sequence. 1. Unplug heated Garmin electrical cords from the plane's rheostat. 2. Unplug communications cables from the jack box. 3. Unplug the oxygen hose from the aircraft's demand regulator. A crew member will pass out in less than a minute at 30,000 feet without mechanically fed oxygen. The solution is a small, green portable walk-around bottle, clipped to the parachute harness. This small cylinder contains only about 8 minutes of precious oxygen, enough time to survive the initial descent, and necessity easily refilled during routine flight. The 3 designated bailout doors presented a unique danger. The fierce air loads of the slipstream would constantly attempt to slam them shut. Therefore, they could not be simply opened. They had to be jettisoned entirely by pulling the emergency release levers, separating the door completely from the fuselage. Crew members then position themselves at their exit points and wait for the final, irreversible command. After the distress call, and if time and safety permit, the pilot performs a final, selfless act. He attempts to reduce both the altitude to below 15,000 feet and the indicated airspeed to below 150 miles per hour to mitigate the G-forces of the jump. The pilot will then trim the plane for level flight and engage the autopilot system. The stage is set for the final sacrifice. The final signal is one long, continuous ring of the bailout bell. Crew members exit in a strict, predefined sequence, ensuring no one is left alone. The mission is to depart the bomber simultaneously, allowing the surviving crew to assist each other once on the ground. If bailing out above 15,000 feet, the jumper takes several final deep breaths from the walk-around bottle, disconnects the bottle from the harness, and leaves it behind. The technique is crucial to avoid being struck by the slipstream. Fall out head first, straight down, and face in the direction of plane's travel. The oxygen mask and goggles must remain on to provide vital face insulation against the frigid air. The pilot is always the last man to leave. The exit order is specific and practiced. Tail gunner exits the door in the plane's tail. Waist and turret gunners exit out of the main cabin door in sequence. Navigator and bombardier exit out of the plane's front entrance door. Radio operator, upper turret gunner, co-pilot, and pilot exit through the bomb bay. This is the first time most crew members will have ever jumped from an aircraft, and there are no reserve parachutes. Every instinct screams to pull the ripcord. Yet, the instruction is clear. Do not deploy the parachute until you reach an altitude of approximately 5,000 feet. This is a matter of life and death, dictated by atmospheric physics. At 30,000 feet, the air density is only 37% of sea level. Free-falling terminal velocity is extremely high, around 175 miles per hour. Deploying the chute while traveling this fast subject the body to a devastating parachute open shock load factor of approximately 27 Gs. The body's vertical speed will be reduced from 175 miles per hour down to 20 miles per hour in less than 1 second. At 5,000 feet, the air is thicker, slowing the jumper to 115 miles per hour. The shock factor is reduced to a tolerable 11 Gs, still severe, but survivable. Recreational skydivers typically experience only 5 Gs. The atmosphere at 30,000 feet is lethal, hovering near minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Air temperature decreases 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit per 1,000 feet of altitude gain. Free-falling quickly through the high-altitude cold is essential. Delaying deployment from 30,000 feet to 5,000 feet reduces the risk of hypothermia and frostbite from a 20-minute exposure to only about 2 minutes. Furthermore, oxygen levels at 30,000 feet are 30% of sea level values. Delaying the chute minimizes the susceptibility to oxygen deprivation, or anoxia, which, when combined with high G-force shock, creates a deadly risk multiplier. The final reasons for delay are tactical. You do not want to deploy your large, helpless parachute in the middle of a combat zone, vulnerable to debris, shell casings, or leaking fuel. Documented cases exist of German fighters targeting descending airmen. A high-altitude deployment provides ground forces a 20-minute window to track your visible descent. By waiting until 5,000 feet, the total descent time is slashed to only 7 minutes, drastically increasing the chances of evasion. Landing takes about 4 minutes from 5,000 feet, equivalent to jumping from a height of 6 feet, 4 inches. If successful, the crew member can apply for the Caterpillar Club, a brotherhood of survival that issued pins and cards to its 34,000 members by the end of the war. Thanks for watching. To watch more videos on American bombers from WWII, check out our playlist.